Okay guys, welcome to the first video in the Maths Tutorials series project I'm going to be doing throughout quarantine to give myself something to do. So the first topic we're going to be covering is trigonometry. I believe this is the topic general is just starting now, so it might be of use to you guys. You may have heard a few terms thrown around in the trigonometry topic. The first acronym you may have heard of, SOHCAHTOA. Now just excuse my handwriting because I'm still learning this new graphics tablet which I'm using to write stuff on the page. Next thing you may have heard of is theta. You may have seen this symbol thrown around, which just means 90 degrees. And you also may have seen opposite sides, adjacent sides, and the hypotenuse. I'm just going to shorten those here. Now let's do an example. So at the start of trigonometry, you're generally going to be working with right angle triangles, which means that this angle down here, where these two lines are perpendicular to each other, has a value of 90 degrees. And you may be given an angle, which is commonly marked as theta, or it could be x, y, z, any other variable. And the first thing you're going to need to know is what opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse sides are. So opposite from the angle, if we look at the angle just here, theta, which I've drawn, if we look directly across from that, we have the opposite side. And if we look to the longer side on the hypotenuse, which is this one here, it's the longer side, that's the hypotenuse. And then the final side is the adjacent side, and that's just the one remaining one, which is just here. So generally, when you're beginning trigonometry, you're either going to have to find a side length or you're going to have to find an angle. So let's figure that out now. Let's let this opposite side be equal to 5 centimeters. And let's let this angle be equal to 30 degrees. Now, if we want to find the hypotenuse, we have to look towards our SOHCAHTOA. So we have this opposite side, and we want to find the hypotenuse. Therefore, we're going to use SO, or the sine function. Other examples, CA is for cos, when you have an adjacent side and need to find the hypotenuse, or when you have a hypotenuse, need to find the adjacent side. And TOA is for the tan function, or tangent function. And that's when you have either an opposite side or an adjacent side, and you want to find the other. So let's write an equation now to figure out what this hypotenuse is. We know that if we insert the sine function, we then have to put an angle after it. So sine 30 degrees in this case, that's our angle, just here. Apologies, meant to circle the whole thing. And we let that equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So imagine that's a fraction. So opposite over hypotenuse. Now we know that our opposite side is equal to 5 centimeters. So we're going to insert that in here. And then we just have to rearrange the equation to find the hypotenuse. So I can do this in a couple steps here just so you understand it. Once you do this a few times, you'll probably get quicker and you'll be able to eliminate some steps. So sine 30 degrees equals 5. Therefore we know that h equals 5 on sine 30 degrees. Now if you were to plug that into your calculator, you'd get h equals 10. And that gives you the side length. Now let's say we wanted to find this angle up here, and we were given I'll just redraw a new triangle now for this. So we're trying to find this up here. And we know this side's equal to 5 centimeters now. And this side's equal to 10. Of course, you could just subtract this angle, or subtract this angle here and the 90 degrees from 180 to find this other side. But just for this example, we're going to find it using trigonometry. So we look towards our angle, and again, we find our opposite side. So opposite is over here. Hypotenuse is still this one, and adjacent is the 5 centimeters. So that's when we're looking from this angle now. The reason why they've changed is because we've changed from this angle down here to this angle up here. So now let's find this angle using our adjacent side and our hypotenuse. So we look back towards our SOHCAHTOA. We know that when you have adjacent and hypotenuse, or one or the other, and you need to find the other, you use the cosine function. So you go cos, let me just switch back to the white here, cos theta, so this up here is theta, equals adjacent 5 over hypotenuse 10. Now this is where you'd use a function on your calculator called cosine -1. And what that is simply an inverse. So if you don't have the angle and you just have the side lengths, you just use that to find your angle. And you should get 60 degrees. Hope that helps.